Okay, Facebook, thank you so much for joining me and watching my little video. Tonight, I'm going to do a demonstration of a diaper changing procedure within the early childhood environment. Gone are the days where we can just, place a child on the table, wipe their bottom, throw away everything, wash hands, and everything is well. Because there are so many germs and everything within the early childhood environment, um, the health department, the Mecklenburg Health Department, came up with the diaper changing procedure, and it is a 19-step procedure, and it tells you how to as best possible, try to prevent the spreading of germs and things like that. We know that we can't prevent all germs and everything, but at the same time, we can slow it down just a little bit and do our part, making sure that certain germs and things like that just don't happen. So anyway, the proper diaper changing procedure is posted in each classroom wherever there is a diaper changing table. If there's a diaper changing table, you'll always see this diaper changing procedure. And right above it, this is the Mecklenburg County logo, just to always keep us mindful of their presence within our center. And also, along with this diaper changing procedure, you will always see the hand washing procedure. It's not as extensive, detailed as the diaper changing, but nevertheless, we have to follow it as well. And whenever you see the diaper changing hand washing procedure, they go together. They're hand in hand. And they're most likely posted in each classroom right above the hand washing sink and also right above the diaper changing surface. So I will definitely go ahead and read the steps to you of the diaper changing procedure. Well, let's go ahead and read the hand washing procedure. Step 1, make sure soap, disposable towels are available. Step 2, wet hands with warm water and apply liquid soap. Step 3, rub hands vigorously with soap and warm water for 15 seconds, washing all surface of the hand to include the back of hands, palms, wrists, and under fingernails and between fingernails. Step 4, rinse hands underwater for 10 seconds. Step 5, dry hands with a paper towel or other hand drying device. Step 6, turn off faucet with a paper towel or by other means so that bare hands do not touch faucet. Step 7, discard paper towel. And that is the hand washing procedure. Very simple, but yet and still, if a person is not practicing this all the time, you make mistakes. And these are mistakes that we cannot afford to make. They're not 6-point violations, but nevertheless, it's still just as serious. And when you are changing a diaper and you mess up on the hand washing procedure, guess what? The hand washing procedure is a part of the diaper changing procedure. So messing up on the hand washing is not acceptable because that will cause us 6 points. Whenever there's a 6-point violation within any childhood environment, that means the Mecklenburg County Health Department has to come back out. And before they do, they'll definitely cite you a provisional license. And that's not what you want inside of your center whenever you are given a tour or whenever your parents are already walking through. It's not even good for the staff to see provisional on the wall. It just says not good enough. See, it says that we just simply don't add up. It's kind of like whenever you go into a restaurant and you see the grade on the wall, and hopefully everyone does look for that grade. God knows I do. So whenever you see that grade on the wall, that will determine whether you're going to actually sit down and have a seat or if you're going to actually just keep on moving. And that's why we have the sanitation. They come through every 6 months and everything. And so they test us on a lot of things. But this, what I'm talking about now, is the 6-point item, one of them. So this is what we're going to discuss tonight. And this is a diaper changing procedure. And it reads as follows. Number 1, wash your hands. Step 2, gather supplies before placing child on diapering surface. Place supplies near but not on diapers changing surface. Place a non-absorbent disposable paper barrier on top of the diaper changing pad, which is recommended. We're not going to use a paper, but it's recommended that you do. 3, put on disposable gloves. required for all staff when hands are chapped or have cuts or sores. Remove soiled clothing if needed and place the clothing in a plastic bag. Remove soiled disposable diaper and discard in a covered trash can. Place cloth diapers in a plastic bag. Step 6. Use a fresh disposable wipe to clean child, wiping front to back. 1 wipe per swipe. Place each soiled wipe in a covered trash can after each swipe. If a disposable paper is used, fold back from feet to cover any soiled areas under the child. We're not going to use a piece of paper. Like I said before, in step 2 is recommended. So when it's recommended, that's our out is not necessary. Okay. Step 8, discard soiled gloves if used. So gloves are not necessarily used unless you have cuts and sores. Step 9, clean your hands with a fresh disposable wipe. Step 10, wipe child's hand with a fresh disposable wipe. Step 11, place a clean diaper under child. Step 12, if needed, apply diapering creams using a clean tissue. Dispose of tissue. Step 13, fasten diaper and dress child. Step 14, wash child's hands. Use a fresh disposable wipe if child is unable to support their head. Dry child's hand and return the child to supervised area. Now, with step 14 is definitely not said, but this also is a violation as well. If you return a child to the supervised play area and you touch a toy or you give a child a toy, then you contaminated that child and that toy with your hands. So when you return a child to a supervised area, do not whatsoever give that child anything to play with. You can place that child in front of the toy that you feel like that child should want to play with. But whatever you do, when you place that child down in a supervised area and you've completed the diaper changing procedure, do not give that child a toy. Okay, so step 15, remove disposable paper barrier if used. Once again, if used, we are not going to use a paper barrier. That's just one more step that we don't have to worry about. Step 16, spray entire diapering surface with soapy water solution and wipe clean with a disposable paper towel. If needed, remove excess soap on pad by rinsing with water from a spray bottle and re-wiping pad. Now, you have control on the contents of the soapiness of your soap water. The soap water is made of nothing simple but liquid soap and also water. Do not use Pine-Sol, Fabuloso, anything that because you think it might smell good, it might clean good. No, those chemicals can stay on the surface longer than we want them to or need them to, and then a child may get up there and have a reaction. So only just use the liquid soap. And like I said, you can control how much liquid soap that you apply inside of your water bottle. If you apply so much liquid soap in there and your water is extremely soapy, then that's another step that you're going to have to apply, which is spraying down the changing table with plain water. You don't want to do that. Add just enough soap to make your water soapy. Okay, step 18, spray entire diapering surface with disinfectant. Surface must be glistening wet and allowed to dry for at least 2 minutes for chlorine or as specified on disinfectant label. Step 19, final step, wash your hands. Okay, now when it comes to your disinfectant and the final step, which is, I guess above step 19, 18, you want to make sure that you are reaching for the right container. Whenever you're reaching for the right container to spray your table that last final time, you want to think disinfectant. Think diaper disinfectant. Think of the double D's. Diaper disinfectant. Diaper disinfectant. You can't help but reach for the disinfectant when you think of diaper disinfectant. And to pick up anything else would be missing the whole procedure. So like I said, the seriousness of this is the diaper changing procedure is a 6-point violation. Missing one step is like missing the whole thing. There are no do-overs. They're not going to say, well, you just messed up on this, I'll watch you do it again. No, they're not going to say that. They're going to mark it as person does not know how to change a diaper. And when they write it up on the website, it's not going to read just like that. But once again, you miss one of these steps, they're coming back out. Whether it's the hand washing procedure within this, or whether it's the diaper changing procedure within this. So that's the seriousness of that. I hope that you know that missing any one of these steps is a 6-point violation. This is grounds for termination. This is grounds for being written up. This is also grounds for suspension. We don't ever want to do that, but when you're talking about 6-point violations, that's more serious than what I'm even giving credit to. So it's not just a slap on the wrist thing. The health department got to come back out. We get provisional on our walls. That's not that simple. Okay. So there's a lot of paperwork that has to follow and everything. So always remember, I'm doing this video so that we would not make any mistakes and everything. Watch it as many times as you need to. And if you have any questions, ask. Always ask. Do not sit back and think that you got it and just flow and think that the inspector is not watching you. When a health inspector is coming inside your room, chances are it's going to be your employer with you, with him or her, or it's going to be someone else in there with you, so that you can give the diaper changing procedure your whole undivided attention and everything. So that man may be talking, or that woman may be talking, that inspector may be talking to someone else. Well, guess what? His or her eye is always on you and what you're doing. If you're missing a step and you think that they don't see it, trust and believe in me, they saw it. So this is the diaper changing procedure. And like I showed you, the hand washing procedure. So the first step is you want to always wash your hands. The hand washing procedure calls for warm water. So you want to make sure that your water is warm enough. Step 2, you want to wet your hands with the water. You want to apply your liquid soap. Rub your hands vigorously with the soap. For 15 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. If you have on bracelets or rings, remove your rings, slide your bracelets up or remove them all together as well before you start your hand washing procedure. Rinse your hands now for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. I like to tell people also, when you are washing your hands, count aloud so the inspector will know that you are counting to 15 and 10 and that you are aware of what you're doing, because believe you me, he's looking. You don't want to sit there and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, the inspector is looking. Count aloud for them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You want to get your paper towel. Now, we are not into wasting paper towels, but would rather you get the diaper changing procedure correctly. So if you have to use a whole pack during this time, by all means, use as many paper towels as necessary, as many wipes as necessary. When you are drying your hands, you can manipulate that paper towel as many times as you need to. But once you touch the faucet with your paper towel, you can no longer touch or manipulate that paper towel whatsoever. Once you turn your water off with your paper towel, you want to make sure that you so carefully take it to the trash receptacle, drop it in, release. Okay? So now that we've washed our hands, you want to make sure that you gather your supplies before you go get the baby. Okay? Your supplies are going to always be somewhere near you. When you're gathering your supplies, do not put the item on top of the changing table. If you do, you have now contaminated the changing table with the container itself. When you are placing your items on the changing table, you want to put them as far as possible away from you. Whenever you are getting ready to change a child, make sure you're conscious of the child that you are intending to change. If at all possible, do not get a child that has a BM. That's going to make your job just a little bit harder. Like I said, put all items away from the changing table as far as possible. Try to pick a child, if you do a diaper change for them, for the inspector, pick a child that has a wet diaper. You want to pick at least about 7 wipes out. So that's 1. And notice I'm not touching the surface of the changing table. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now I'm free to go and get the baby that I'm going to change. Now, whenever you go and get a child, you want to also respect that child. And before you pick that child up, you want to address that child and let them know that you're getting ready to interrupt their play or their activity of what they're doing. You don't want to just whisk a child away from what they're doing. It's kind of like respecting them. You want to respect that child. It's almost compared to if you were playing, or if you were working, or if you were eating, or you're just daydreaming and someone just suddenly picks you up, then you're going to feel some type of way. So respect that child and address them and say, okay, Becky, it's time to get your diaper change. Are you ready? Give that child 2 to 3 seconds to kind of comprehend what you're saying. Okay, Becky, we're going to pick you up and we're going to change your diaper. When you pick up Becky, you want to make sure that you are picking up Becky safely. The best and the most safest way possible to pick up an infant or child is by their waist slightly up under their arms, just like this. You don't want to pick up a child like this. You don't want to just grab them from behind like this. Lovingly pick up a child where you have the full body. If the child wiggles, jump, move, you have control, okay? So we have Becky on the changing table. And always be mindful of your health inspector is also for the health and safety of that child. So when you have a child on the changing table, be mindful of how you are handling the child and what you are doing. And if you are rubbing too hard, or if you're being too harsh, or if you or you're doing anything that's would be deemed as inappropriate care toward a child. Okay, so now we have Becky on the table, and we're going to make sure that we have on our gloves. Now, like I said, do not use gloves unless it is necessary. And when it is necessary is if you have cuts and sores on your hand. If you use gloves to change a child, you're going to need to know how to properly remove the gloves from your hands. And if you do not know how to remove the gloves from your hands, that's going to also, what's the word I'm looking for? You're going to also miss the entire diaper changing procedure. Everything goes together. So when you're up here, don't try to be a magician. Don't try to do anything special. Do what is necessary. Do what is mandatory. If you have to use gloves, use gloves. But you also have to know how to properly remove them. And I will show you that as well. So now that we have everything that we have, now also if Becky has a diaper rash, you want to get a piece of tissue, apply the cream on top of the tissue, and then you can apply the cream on top of Becky. You want to get a child that does not need cream, that does not have a BM. You want to get a child that is diaper changing friendly. Okay? So when you have Becky up on the table, you can talk to Becky and let Becky know what you are doing. And while you're talking to her, you're going to also be reminding yourself of where you are in the diaper changing procedure. So just in case in point, so we're going to say, Becky, Miss Kim Lee is going to remove your diaper, okay? And once I remove Becky's diaper, Miss Kim Lee is going to wipe Becky, okay? So that way it's going to keep you abreast on where you are in your diaper changing procedure. If you get nervous, if you get forgetful, or if you draw a blank, the diaper changing procedure is right in front of you, okay? We place the diaper changing procedures in such places so that if you do forget or become nervous or whatever, it's right there in front of you. Pause for the moment, read it. We do not care how long it takes you to change a diaper. What counts most is that you effectively change a diaper correctly. Okay, so all intents and purposes, we are going to remove the soiled diaper and we're going to discard it. So we're removing the diaper, excuse me, and we're going to discard it immediately. And your trash container is going to be right beside you, and you're going to use the covered trash receptacle. Okay? Now that you remove the soiled diaper, you're going to get a wipe, and you're going to wipe Becky from front to back. One wipe per swipe, throw away. You're going to wipe Becky again, front to back. One wipe per swipe, throw away. You're wiping Becky once more, front to back. One wipe per swipe, throw away. Now that we've completely cleaned Becky, now it is time to dress Becky. But before we dress Becky, we want to remove our gloves and we want to also take care of ourselves so that we can touch Becky in a manner where it's not going to recontaminate her because she's clean. Whenever you are removing a glove, you want to make sure that you get the very bottom, pinch, pull, remove. 2 fingers under the glove, remove, throw away. Now, that's not all. Because you had on gloves, that does not omit you from any other steps within the diaper changing procedure. You want to get your wipe and wipe your hands first. If you use if you go by the term ladies first, you'll always remember to wipe your hands first. Now remember what I said, just because you use the gloves, you still have to wipe your hands. Ladies first. And you want to wipe your hands in such a way that you are showing the inspector that you got this covered. Okay? Discard. Now what you want to do, you want to wipe Becky's hands. Remember, Becky's an infant. You want to make sure that you're thorough, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you're gentle, because your inspector acts as twofold. He's a protector and he's also health conscious as well. You're wiping Becky's other hand. You're discarding the wipe. Now it is time to place a diaper on top of Becky. Gently lift Becky. Place diaper. When you're redressing your baby or an infant or toddler or 2 or 3-year-old, pull the child clothes up and down on them while they're on the changing table. If there is a situation where you have to stand the child up to dress the child, you want to lovingly lift the child up, assist them off the changing table in a gentle manner, stand them on the floor. Then you pull up the child's clothes. You do not want to stand your baby on top of the changing table. Anything could happen. That child could wiggle. That child could jump. That child could just simply fall. You don't want that to happen ever, whether there's an inspector there or not. Whenever you have to pull up a child's clothes, do it on the floor, or you're going to pull up that child's clothes lying flat on the table. Okay, now that Becky's clothes are up, it's time for us to wash Becky's hand. We will have to wash Becky's hands just as we did our own hands in the hand washing procedure. If Becky is unable to reach the sink because Becky is an infant, you want to make sure that there's going to be a stool or a step ladder near you. You can place your leg on top of your foot on the stool in a folded motion and sit Becky on top of your lap, okay? Now, Becky, okay, also, I'll tell you that later. So we're going to go ahead and wash Becky's hand. We're going to turn on the water. Now, this is also going to be a learning moment for Becky as well. So you can talk Becky through it. The inspector knows that Becky's not going to come up there and willingly play wash hands and everything, because Becky's an infant. Becky's curious. So you want to make sure, and I'm not going to wet Becky because she's a stuffed animal and she's not my baby. So you want to make sure you wet her hands under the water. Apply liquid soap to Becky. Wash Becky's hands, rubbing them together for 15 seconds, just as you would your own. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now we've washed her hands with soap, so now we want to rinse her hands for 10 seconds. Under the water Becky goes. Now Becky's not going to sit here like this. Becky's going to want to try to get in the sink, but remember, this is a teaching moment, and this is an intentional teaching moment. So you can make this as fun as possible, but what you want to make sure that you do is follow the hand washing procedure correctly. So we're going to rinse Becky's hand for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You want to reach for your paper towel, which is always going to be near you. Dry Becky's hands. This is not about you. Do not attempt to dry your hands. You're drying Becky's hands. Now Becky's hands are dry. The same courtesy that you have to show yourself when you're washing your hands, you don't want to recontaminate Becky. So you want to turn off the water with your paper towel ever so carefully throwing it away, always remember having Becky's best interest in heart. Toss it, throw it away, and now you can return Becky back to the playing area. But remember, when you put Becky down on the floor, do not touch a toy. Your hands are still soiled. Do not touch a toy. Do not give Becky a toy, okay? Let Becky get her own toy, or another caregiver will give Becky a toy. But you can't do it because your hands are contaminated. Now also, I do want to show you this. When it comes to infants, if your infant has head control, then you're required to wash Becky's hands, okay? Now, this is how the health department, and you can tell if your infant has head control. If you put an infant down and that infant cannot pick up their head, then that infant does not have head control. If that infant can lift their head just a little bit, guess what? You have to wash her hands. So definitely keep that in mind. Do not assume and think that the health inspector does not know if an infant does not have head control. If the infant can lift up their head on their own just a little bit, guess what? Wash their hands. If you are in doubt, wash them out. Okay, so now that we have Becky, her hands are clean. Now, if Becky does not have head control, and Becky has completed the diaper changing procedure, and it's time to wash her hands, you can get an additional wipe and allow that to be her final step. And that's once she's completely dressed, her diaper is on, you can wipe her hands. That's if she does not have head control. If Becky has head control, wash her hands. Okay, so we're going to discard that wipe, and we're going to take Becky to the play area, and we're not touching anything. Okay, so Becky's now at the play area, and now we're left with cleaning off our table. The first thing that we want to do is make sure we discard any of the wipes, any of the paper towels that were going to be used. So if it seemed like we are throwing away a lot of stuff, good wipes, yes we are, but that's a part of it. Okay, so we remove everything off the table. Now you're going to reach for your soapy water. Remember, you have control over your soap water. If your water is dark, then guess what? You're going to be responsible for the residue, the soap residue that's left on this table. You don't want that, okay? So always try to make sure that your soap water is light and that it is soapy and everything. You don't want it to it's not soap at all. There's a thin line with that. So definitely spray your table, your entire surface with the soap water. That's your entire surface. Okay, like I said, we're not into wasting paper towels or anything like that. But when you are changing a diaper for the health inspector, you use as many paper towels if you have to. We would rather replace paper towels than go through the process of provisional licenses or 6-point violation, which is the same thing. Okay. You want to completely wipe your entire diaper changing surface that you used and surface that you did not use. You want to make sure that your effort is to always keep your diaper changing area clean. You're wiping in such a way that you are not seeing any soap residue or anything left. Discard in the trash container right beside you that's covered. Reach for your disinfectant spray. It's going to say disinfected on the label. Remember, diaper disinfectant, diaper disinfectant, diaper disinfectant. Your disinfectant water is no more than 500 to 800 parts per million bleach water, okay? It's strong enough to kill any feces or anything like that. So the diaper changing procedure calls for the entire surface to be glistening wet. You want to make sure that you are spraying the entire surface. Now, for whatever reason, some freak chance, you're doing a diaper change and you have a nozzle that is not working, you need to stop, ask the second teacher or your director to immediately give you another nozzle for your diaper, for your water. Now, this table is glistening wet. It requires the entire surface to be glistening wet. Now you can wash your hands. Turn on your water, wet your hands, get your soap, wash. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. If you go over 15, it does not hurt, but definitely don't go under 15. You can now rinse the soap off for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Dry your hands. Remember, use as many paper towels as you need. Drying your hands is a part of the diaper changing hand washing procedure. Germs are spread as well when you do not dry your hands well enough. Remember, you can dry your hands as long as you need, but the moment that this soiled paper towel touches the faucet, you can no longer manipulate that paper towel at all. So now you want to discard it. Remember, being ever so careful to throw it in the trash container without manipulating it. Then, now you're ready to look at your health inspector to say, I am finished. Okay? Now, your inspector is going to ask you, at what sink do you wash hands? If you are in a classroom where your diaper changing sink is your hand washing sink as well, you want to be able to tell him that definitely that your diaper changing sink is your hand washing sink. He's going to ask you, well, how do you clean it? You're going to say you reach for your soap, water, and this has to be done between uses. You're going to spray your entire sink. The faucet, the handle, everything. Inside of the sink and all. Put your soap water back. Everything must be 5 feet above the children. Get your paper towels, many as needed. Wipe and clean your hand washing sink. And this is every time you change a diaper and you have to immediately go into hand washing for other activities such as playing, routine care, nose wiping, all the above. You're going to wipe inside the sink as well. You're going to make sure that you're removing soap residue. Now that you have done that, any extra paper towels, discard them as well. Okay, now that you've cleaned your sink with the soap water, you now want to reach again for your disinfectant. Remember, diaper, disinfectant. Diaper, disinfectant. Do not reach for the sanitizer. This sink must be glistening wet as well. Okay, now that that's completely glistening wet, your diaper changing table and your diaper changing / hand washing sink must now air dry for 2 minutes before the next use. Now, what if you are in a classroom by yourself and you have a lot of babies and someone needs your help? You then can reach for your sanitizer, use your sanitizer in your hands, wash your hands with the sanitizer as prescribed on the bottle, and also as if you are doing a hand washing procedure itself, okay? Once your hands is dry with the hand sanitizer, you can assist that child. Now, once you assist that child, you still have to wash your hands. Wait those 2 minutes out. So if you use hand sanitizer, help the child. You just can't forget about coming back to wash your hands. You have to wait those 2 minutes out, wash your hands. Okay? Now, that completes the diaper changing procedure for a diaper changing area and also a hand washing sink. So if you have any questions, please ask. If you have any comments, please post them. But according to the Mecklenburg County Health Department, this is the diaper changing procedure. And I am Mildred Kimberly Dawn Lee, signing off and saying have a healthy and happy sanitation practice. Thank you.